Well, hello, Rebecca. How are you doing today?
Okay.
And what's bringing you in here today to talk to me?
Well, I think I just feel really lonely. Like I just don't feel like, the feeling of people say that you're in a crowded room and you just feel really lonely. That's the way that I feel.
Okay. And so when you feel that, what does that feel like to you physically, or can you explain that emotion a little bit more?
I mean, it feels sad. It feels, because I don't want to necessarily be alone. Like I get alone time at times is good, but feeling alone all the time doesn't feel good. I feel anxious about it because I know that people are around me, but I just don't feel like they get me or that they want to be with me or spend time with me.
So if we were to bring that feeling into this moment right now, how would you describe it? How does it start and how does it progress, this feeling?
I mean, it probably starts by me noticing something that's happening around me and that people aren't not noticing that I'm in the room or paying attention to me, but they're just not. If like me and another person were in the room, it's like they're not even acknowledging that I'm there. So that starts, I see that, and then I get frustrated because I know that I'm here and I want to be noticed or at least acknowledged. I don't have to be the center of attention, but just like a conversation would be nice. And then I start to get mad and critique that person and judge that person, and a lot of anger builds up because they didn't say what they should have said, or just like they didn't follow like reasonable rules of like treating other people with kindness and all that other kind of stuff. So it kind of gets me really angry and frustrated, and like kind of gets me like worked up.
Okay. And how do you respond to that? Do you just sit in that feeling? What does it look like after you start to feel this loneliness?
Sometimes if it makes me mad enough, I'll just remove myself from the situation, and then I am alone. So not only did the people not talk to me or notice me or acknowledge me, but they also made me feel like I wasn't welcome there, and then I leave, and then I am alone. So it's not only am I alone with people around me, but I'm alone when I'm actually removing myself from the situation because I don't feel wanted. And then other times it can be, I just sit there in it and allow people to sort of dictate what happens, and I just kind of close it up again. Not really claustrophobic, but I just don't engage with people there either.
Okay, and what are your closest relationships? What do those relationships look like for you in your life?
I have a husband, John, and I have family. We have family in town. We don't spend a lot of time with them, but we spend like maybe one day a week or so with John's family, and then maybe once or twice a week with my family.
Okay. And so it seems John is a very important relationship in your life, and they're a lot. So what does that relationship look like? How are you feeling about that relationship?
Well, I feel like he does take a lot of a lot of the anger and frustration comes from our relationship, in the fact that, and some of these examples I'm sharing are some from him, of like, if we're in the car and he's on his telephone, like he's in the car with me, like why isn't he talking to me? I mean, that's pretty hurtful. Am I not good enough to be in a conversation with you, and you'd rather be on the phone looking at what other people are doing, or in a text message conversation with someone else? So I think that is really frustrating to me.
Okay.
So,
and is this a conversation that you've had with him before, or?
I mean, I've asked him several times. I feel like girls always nag guys, or people are always nagging one another about getting off their phone, because people are just so connected today and won't ever disconnect. So I feel like I've asked for that and said that, but I don't think that, I feel like it's been more of a nagging conversation than let me sit down and explain to you, this is how this is making me feel.
All right. So let's just try something. Let's say John is sitting next to you. Let's play out the conversation. What would you say to him if you were to actually have this conversation with him and not just tell him to get off his phone?
I mean, I've never really tried that, so can you guide me through how to do it?
So, like I said, we'll just act like John is here. So we will start with you saying what you want to say, and then I want you to picture as if he were here right now, how he would respond. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, John, it hurts me a lot when you're on your phone often when I'm in the room and I'm the only one in the room. Just because I feel like you would rather be talking to people on your phone or talking to what's happening on the worlds of social media rather than talking to me. And then he might say, well, I'm in the car, I'm on my phone because I don't like your driving. And if I focus on my phone, then I'm not focusing on your driving and I'm not nagging you about your driving. So that's a car situation. I feel like that's what he would say about that. But I just feel like that's an excuse. Like, I've not killed you, like you're fine. Nobody's ever gotten hurt.
So how would you say it that way to him? Or let's say right now, what would you say to him?
I probably would say that to him, and then that would start an argument and much less making me feel more lonely. So I think the more proactive thing to say was, like, is that okay that that's what he does? Like, or should I say, maybe I should say, I'm sorry about my driving, but I would really just like to distract you with my conversation rather than your phone distract you from what I'm doing.
And so when he responded the way that you think that he would respond, how did that make you feel? What was your reaction to that?
I mean, I think that's a natural response for him. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I feel like it's sort of an excuse, but I mean, I also get it because I've ridden with people that I don't really enjoy riding in the car with, and I either just hold on tight or try to distract myself.
And how would you respond to him saying that he doesn't like your driving? What would be possibly a constructive way to kind of move past this problem so that he is able to pay attention to you as you're kind of wanting?
I mean, well, he could drive. That would be part of the solution. And then I feel like I could ask him why he doesn't like my driving, so I could look at fixing some of that. But I mean, I don't feel like I'm a horrible driver. It's just traffic.
And so going through this conversation, how is that making you feel towards John, or how is that just making you feel in general, having this role play?
It makes me feel like that there are more avenues for conversation than what we were trying, because I feel like right now we're just getting angry at one another and then like closing up and inside our own bodies and inside our own minds. Like, we're having an argument about it and then we're closing up in our own minds and bodies about it and then not talking about it anymore. So we're not having proactive conversation at all. So I feel like that there are some ways to have proactive conversation about it. We just aren't trying those.
Okay. So do you feel like this has helped you kind of figure out maybe what you could say to him and help you have that conversation with him?
I think it has, but it's not only happening in the car. Like, it's happening when we're, like, say, if we're in, like, we're about to go to sleep. And, I mean, I'll do it sometimes, too. Like, we'll both be on our phones before we go to sleep. And, like, I understand wanting to, like, check the news and all that kind of stuff before you go to sleep and even when you wake up in the morning. But, like, those are precious times. Like, I don't feel like we get a ton of time together because I'm busy and he's busy and we both have separate jobs and stuff like that. So I feel like when you have time together, like, you should be disconnected just because it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Y'all are both right there. And if you're thinking about what the other people are doing versus what you're actually doing, then what's the point?
Yeah. So it sounds like that there's this conversation that you want to have with John. So maybe next week we can talk a little bit, if you've had that conversation, maybe talk a little bit more into if you did have that conversation, maybe we can figure out some different ways to talk to him about it if that doesn't seem to be working. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Great.
Good. Thank you.